the dog guy on the daily, hoping you're having a great day. Getting some hail out here in good old Utah. Probably can't see that very well, but it's hailing. I want to talk today about driving the car. I got to thinking about this the other day. I was working with a client, and they were making a small error. That's an error that I see a lot of people make. It's not a big deal. It's something that can be fixed pretty easily. But it reminded me of a story from when I was a teenager. So when I was a teenager, 16 years old, got my license just like a lot of other folks did. And like a lot of 16-year-olds, getting the license meant now it's time to start ditching school and going and doing stuff. You know, there's more fun stuff than school. We're gonna go find it. So I remember one of these days ditching school with my friend, and we wanted to go to a military surplus store. You know, one of these places you can buy tents and you can buy fishing stuff and military surplus stuff. And anyways, we didn't have one in our town, but the town over, Livermore, had one. Livermore, California. Maybe they still do, who knows. But anyways, Livermore had a military surplus store, and we wanted to go there. So, Chip, let's. And so we get in Mom's van. Mom let me take the van to school that day. We get Mom's Astro van, if you remember those Chevy Astros, and we start driving to Livermore. Now, bear in mind, this was probably one of my first times being on the freeway. I'd probably been with my parents a handful of times, but I think this was my first time being on the freeway, like, well, I wasn't by myself, but, you know, without, like, my parents in the seat next to me. And I remember driving the whole way to Livermore, like, looking right in front of the van, trying to make, you know, and like, trying to make sure that I was staying within the lines on the freeway, you know. And what happened was, I kind of, in doing that, I was like, you know, kind of jerking back and forth the whole time with the vehicle, you know. The whole time I was correcting because I was looking right in front of me. And when you drive, if you look right in front, you might go off a few inches so you correct back, and now you're off a few inches so you correct back, and you just kind of keep doing this, and you keep course correcting. If you drive that way, if you drive by, you know, just looking directly in front of you. And so, on our way back, my friend Andy, good guy, and he was younger than me, but he was much more car savvy and, you know, understood things much better. Andy said to me, look, here's what you're doing. Wow. That's some pretty heavy thunder. We don't get thunder like that in Utah very often. I hope you heard that. That was some pretty impressive thunder. But anyways, my friend Andy says, look, our whole way here, you're like driving like a maniac. You know, you're going back and forth. And the reason why is you're looking straight ahead of you. You're looking directly in front of the car. And it makes you correct too much. So instead of doing that, look out. Look out at the road 20 yards ahead, 50 yards ahead, whatever. You look out at the road that way. And so I said, okay. And so I did it. And so on the way back, I just looked out instead of down, essentially, looked out, and I drove much more smooth the whole way back. Because when you look out, your mind fills in the gaps. You know, you still stay on a straight line, and you still correct when you need to correct. But essentially, your mind fills in the gaps when you're looking out, and you can be much more smooth. Now, where this comes in with dog training is, like I say, what I ran into the other day, working with a client, and like I said, I recognized it, but I'd never like put the story together, so I thought I'd share that. We're healing with the dog, and she was very concerned about the dog. You know, I need the dog to be exactly in position right here. Oh, the dog's a little bit far, and so right here. Oh, and what happened is, the dog was so aware that she was so aware that the dog was a little bit like, okay, wait, am I doing this right? You know, and so the dog was kind of having to kind of correct the whole time. And she found herself correcting with the leash and, you know, having to do too much. And then when her husband took over, he just looked out and he just started walking, and the dogs did a lot better. And it was simply because he wasn't, you know, so on top of them that it was making them constantly do things, which made her constantly do things, which made them constantly do things. They just kind of looked out and walked. And so I want to encourage you, as you're teaching your dog to heel, as you're walking with your dog, to have that. Don't look in the front of the Chevy Astro. Look off. You know, just kind of look up. You know, be aware of your surroundings, but just look off. Be aware of your dog, but don't be constantly looking at your dog. Don't be constantly like trying to, you know, keep the dog right there. Once you've taught the dog the concept, use feel. You know, use feel of where the dog is with your leg, with your hand, with the leash and stuff. But don't be constantly looking down to course correct, because too much course correction leads to hecticness. So, try that with your dog.